Well, he's not you.
So the next, there are three people we'd like to call to the stage now to honor. First of all, we'd like to ask Don Moore to come up, who's going to present the award. And then the award recipients are Dan and Mary Udell. So if you're nearby, if you could come to the stage. And both of these work, by the way.
Dan and Mary Udell, they broke. Sorry. When Dan and Mary Udell were minted, they broke the mold. They broke the mold of a super volunteer, and because they are so well known together, they are inseparable. They are a super volunteer couple. They have made us all proud of their work. That has been selfless on behalf of projects like the curatorial work they do with visual artists or people of color, both here on a number of occasions, and also at RPI, where I knew of Mary's and Dan's work. They've also undertaken a tremendous personal effort to teach and train kids in high school and at TSL in videography, learning 21st century tools that they might not otherwise have access to, and they do this all in their own time and their own dime. One of their contributions that is closest to my heart is their work that they do in videoing both the Hudson Common Council and the school and the Hudson City School Board. If an 18th century government is to work in a 21st century situation, we must be able to communicate. I'm sorry, did I say something there?
You said our government was antiquated.
Pardon?
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. We must use the tools of the 21st century. And warts and all, the Common Council has been broadcast regularly for almost 2 years as a consequence of Dan and Mary's faithful work in bringing it to you. We are Democrats with a big D, but we are also concerned about democracy with a small d. And democracy means openness and transparency. It means faithfulness to information and communicating with the public, and we would not be able to do that without Dan and Mary's efforts. It is a special privilege tonight that we recognize them and that I have a chance to be a part of that. Thank you.
Well, this is a humbling experience. My goodness. It's just by accident. We both happen to have the same independently arrived at. So we sort of finish each other's sentences, I guess. First, I wanted to say how we love Hudson. And coming up, and I promise not to spend any time on it, WMHT is doing a series on different towns in the area, and they're doing one on Hudson. And in about a week, they've asked me to come up and do an interview. I have lots of footage of what wonderful organizations in this town have done in the way of stage performances. It's incredible. And that's really my point. Here is a town of only 7,000 people, and they have 3 or 4 just wonderful performance groups, just batting it out of the park every year. So that's one of my points. The other is again, whether it's education or the arts, we're just really excelling in every way you can think of. So to the Common Council tapes, we started this about 2 years ago, and it has been not only we're both delighted that it's received well, and we have them put on, don't miss it, every Monday at 5 p.m. you can see the tapes of the Common Council of the prior week. And it has been really a learning experience for us, and a very exciting one, to see the organization and the operation of a government in a very civil way. There are issues, of course, there are differences, but they are worked out in a very, very civilized fashion. So it's been a joy for us, and we have learned an incredible amount, as you always do when you're behind a camera and you're watching what goes on. Your acuity is really heightened. The other thing we do, which we love, and I guess it's about the second year now, working with high school students, using videography as a means to get to them. We have found, of course, as soon as you stand up and try to lecture to a high school student, there's a shade that comes down and you're gone, it's over. What we were able to do a couple of years ago is we had a grant from Berkshire Taconic Foundation, gave us 6 little flip video cameras, which are little miracles. And we took these students who were considered at the time to be challenged, if you will. We didn't really know what that meant. And we found out it really doesn't mean much of anything. We gave each of them one of these cameras, and they knew exactly what to do with it. And they each grew 3 inches taller. Because they knew, they'd seen it. And we marched out and started interviewing people. We interviewed the mayor. We interviewed the superintendent of the schools. There was no one they couldn't interview. And in fact, last year at the book festival, Jack Howe came up to us and he said, it's amazing. These kids are really talking. I said, Jack, they're not only talking, they're doing goddamn good interviews. Really. There was no question they were afraid to ask. And they got very good answers. So it's amazing when you give somebody the technology that they're familiar with and you do it in a way that they like, it brings out things that were not apparent before. What else can I say?
One last thing is, the videos we've shown all these years at the high school and junior high school are shown on Fridays in the high school cafeteria on a 55-inch Samsung screen that we got donated by Mid-Hudson Cable, and we are forever grateful to them. It is terrific. The kids sit in the cafeteria, and all of you are invited to attend. If you want to come over on a Friday between 11 and 1 or later or earlier, they're shown all day. The last trip we did was the robotics team went to Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we followed them. We went, and it was the end, and it's still funded for $5,000 a year by the Kaz company, Mr. Katzman. He has honored it because he so believes in it. He started the robotics team. So, it's just an example of the kids and how great they are, just really unbelievable.
One last note, we just started this Friday luncheon series, and we started with the basketball tournament that Rashad Barksdale hosted here in Hudson at the high school. And it was amazing because here is a cafeteria, it's just a riot with kids, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. They're teenagers, after all. And as soon as the video started up on this big screen, they all stopped what they were doing. You're talking about 100 kids. They're teenagers with, hormones raging through their bodies. They all stopped and they all turned and they watched. And they continue to watch. So it's a great learning experience for us because you begin to understand what makes them tick and how to get them ticking. Okay, thank you so much.